Yeah, it's sheer. It's the only way I can wear the crosses on the front. Relationships. That's a big thing I keep seeing coming up. And can you really have no expectations? If you're in a relationship, any kind of relationship, right? Friendship, doesn't matter. Any of that. If you're in a relationship, can you really not have expectations? Or are you always going to? At what point do expectations become a burden? You know, expectations, it seems like they it either creates like a boundary line or it goes the other way. And it ends up being this letdown because you had an expectation of something. How does that get defined? Should that be defined in the beginning, like a contract? That's just how I work, right? It's a verbal and a contract, an agreement. Or do you work on them as you go? I don't know what to think of expectations, and I'm loving this right now. It's very windy, so I'm sorry for the extra noise. I'm not going to roll up my windows all the way because I like the wind too much. But the clouds, I'm going the wrong direction right now, or I'd show you. But as I was going the other way, I'm racing the clouds. The shadow of the clouds is just flying across the pavement and the fields. And I like it when I'm driving with it, because then I feel like I'm racing the clouds. But we're going the wrong direction right now. Just can't show you that. Yeah, can you actually have no expectations? And if you actually got to a point where you could have no expectations, wouldn't that kind of fuck you a bit? I mean, that would be like flipping a quarter for every decision, I would think. Because you have to have some kind of expectation. But how do you know when they become unhealthy? How do you know when it turns from something that... See, I don't like the term boundaries. I understand that people have, like, I call it a line in the sand, right? People have boundaries, they have their walls, they have their things. This is a no. Like, for me, one of my boundaries is don't ever touch me in anger. Touch me in anger, it's an automatic end to the relationship. That's very firm for me, right? But I don't necessarily call that a boundary. I call that common sense. I don't think you should touch anybody in anger or whatever, you know. But it gets defined. So, but that's an expectation. I expect people to respect the fact that you shouldn't touch me in anger. I don't know. It's a conversation that's slowly sort of happening in the background and stuff, and so I'm curious. Because, not having expectations is living a little freer. And to any question, this is what sucks, right? So to any question you have, roughly and generally, you are always the answer. You are the center. It is only ever you, right? So let's say I have like these high-strung reactions to religious words or certain words. There's certain words I think they get used wrong, right? And it used to annoy me. I used to get very annoyed and very upset. And I would get defensive and I'd shut off, and then I wasn't listening anymore because I listen all the time, you know. I'm always listening. I feel like I'm always sort of bridging the gap between languages, the emotional languages of people. But I realized that my reaction to that word is my reaction. You know, the person I'm talking to, they don't care. I can't control how they perceive me. I can't control how they perceive what I'm saying. I can kind of guess maybe, you know, but I would get so mad because I wanted people to conform to me every once in a while. And that just wouldn't happen. And it made me, especially when it comes to religion, it used to make me very angry. So I stopped having an expectation of being understood. Is about what it comes down to. You just have to realize that you can only understand other people as well as you understand yourself, and it goes the other way too. And I think that we sometimes forget that people who aren't us, have their own life, have their own experiences, they have their own pain and their own happiness, and we know it, but we don't feel it, right? And we have to remind ourselves to feel it. And then there are other times where, and I realize I'm going off on a tangent, there are other times where life can get, I don't want to say overwhelming because I don't mean it that way, but like there are times where you have to be really present in boring ways, paying bills, things that are expected of you, sort of societal standard things. In order to live, you have to make a certain amount of money, yada, yada, yada. It's illegal to collect rainwater in Alabama. You can't live off the grid in Alabama. It's illegal. And when that starts to kind of weigh on me, when things start to feel a little heavy, one of the things I do is, I mentioned this to a friend the other day, in Chroma, I'll go watch people seeing color for the first time to remind me that everybody has their own struggles, they have their own pain, and it's not any lesser or greater than my own, right? They are the center in their universe. They are the center of their movie. I'm an extra in their movie. I think that we get kind of self-centered. Not meaning to. I think we're raised that way. I think we're sort of bred that way. No. So I'm just going to let this roll because I'm almost home. No one truly, we suffer alone individually. You sort of have to for growth. But everybody suffers. And people relate in their own ways to the best of their abilities. But expectations, that's a funny word. I think I need to find another word. I think that's what it is. There's the way the word expectations is getting used, and how much people are trying to cover with that word. Even I've done it. I need to find a separate word. I sort of need to split the difference and find something else. Now I'm going to go in and clean.